The other thing I wanted to discuss too, because I think this connects as well, is the growth in life sciences this year. I mean, life sciences has just gotten incredibly huge. We're seeing more and more companies create funds. I was reading earlier about the Breakthrough Life Science Property Fund, which just got funded for $1 billion. That was a joint venture formed in 2019 by Tishman Speyer and Belco. So they're going to be investing in things. We've seen Ventas, which you mentioned earlier, make moves. They acquired $1 billion portfolio of life science properties in the San Francisco area. So that's one area I think has grown. Is it this year's industrial? I kind of feel like it is.
It is, and life science properties have before this have kind of been the realm of office REITs because they're technically office buildings. When you think about the type of real estate, there's not medical procedures usually being performed in them or anything like that. So a lot like Alexandria Real Estate, so an office REIT that owns a lot of life science properties that we've mentioned before on the show. But life science is one, it's a nice differentiator. Two, it's a nice growth market. And these properties tend to be in some of the most valuable and desirable areas in the country. San Francisco has a large concentration of life science properties. The Boston area is another big market for life science. So life science, it's a big growth market. It's a growing need. It benefits from the same healthcare trends, the aging population specifically, that are helping the rest of real estate. As the population, in simple terms, older people take medicine more. So there's going to be more of a need to develop therapeutics and deal with conditions that affect the elderly more as the population ages. And there's a ton, like you've mentioned, there is a ton of money being poured into not the COVID vaccine is not what we're talking about here. There is tons of money being pumped into pharmaceutical research and development and medical devices and things like that. So this is a long-tail growth market that I think has just started to scratch the surface as far as healthcare REITs are concerned.
Well, yeah, and it's not a COVID-19 trend, but I would say it's a COVID-19 awareness trend, is that we're just all much more aware of the value of life science and why we need to why we need to keep putting money into life science and what it's going to mean for different treatments and with all the different diseases. But I think the other thing that's really interesting too is there a potential for, because you can't do life science work at home. It's not like office stuff. So one of the things that I've heard recently, talking about San Francisco or Cambridge or Massachusetts or some of the other markets that had a heavy tech centricity, the biotech field then kind of ends up being the saving grace for some of those office leases and trying to make those spaces more life science friendly, because those businesses, they really can't be remote.